Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be reviewing episode 5 of Shogun. I had to think through the episode numbers. So episode 5 of Shogun. Let's get straight into the review. So we watched episodes 5 and 6 back to back, so I may get some elements mixed up, but so far episode 5 was absolutely amazing. We ended on kind of a cliffhanger at the end of episode 4 with people being blown up and stuff. So there was a lot of like resolving that. There was a lot of like cultural stuff in this episode, as always. And like the more that I watched this show, the more that I realized like the subtleties of not just Japanese culture, but Japanese culture specific to the time period. And I cannot tell you like how much I love not just the Japan stuff and the history, but the character dynamics between the characters. And I'm assuming it's kind of true from the book mostly. But like the character dynamics and then the relationships between the characters is so good. And I love the cultural differences that they're bringing out between medieval England and medieval Japan at this time period, because the show takes place in the year 1600. And if I remember right, episode 5 is the one where John Blackthorne is given a pheasant, and yeah, he's given a pheasant, not a peasant, wrong term. He's given a pheasant as a gift from Tornaga, and he hangs it up and just leaves it there to like rot for a couple days. And so all the Japanese people are like, this stinks. And he's like, don't touch it, you know, and he's freaking out. And it's just like they would hang it, and I actually did some research on this because I was fascinated by it, and they would actually, like, in medieval Europe, they would hang the pheasant, like they thought it would taste better if it would hang for a week or whatever, before they would cook it, and it just smelled disgusting and it tasted disgusting, and like they all thought it was like weird. And there's a lot of little cultural differences that pop up in this show that really shows the difference between how medieval Europe and the Western civilizations did it versus like the Eastern civilizations like China and Japan, especially Japan. And I love the cultural differences, and the characters and the dynamics between them are really cool. And they're really emphasizing how honorable and polite and proper that the Japanese people are, to the point where they're very, very private, and they don't talk about their pain or their problems. So even if they're like really uncomfortable with something, they won't tell a person, and they have a very hidden kind of situation. So there was this situation where the main I can never remember her name when I'm doing my review. Miruki or Miraki, or I wish I could remember her name. I love her character. I just can't, for some reason, can never think of her name. So her husband, Tornaga, commands her husband to live in the house with her because she's living with Blackthorne, because Blackthorne got promoted to Hamamoto or whatever, and so he was given a consort, and Miruki or whatever her name is stays with him as a translator. And so since her husband actually survived, that might be a spoiler, but basically so she can serve both him and her husband, Tornaga orders her husband to live there too. And so there's this really tense dynamic between her husband and Blackthorne, and they end up drinking, and Blackthorne is really like kind of showing them England culture. Like he has this stew they don't want to eat, and the sake like cups are really small because that's kind of a Japan thing, and he pours out the soup that they were eating and pours his sake in the soup cup, which is big. And then it's like her husband has to like rise to the challenge, and it's kind of like this testosterone, like men are still the same, they have to compete against each other, and so they end up drinking back and forth, and it's actually really funny. And then the tone just completely flips on its head and gets so serious, and there's a lot of drama back and forth, and it's just so intense. They have this really good relationship between Blackthorne and his gardener. They have this scene that's really cute. There's a lot of, and by cute I mean like a nice friendship moment. There's a lot of inner political stuff, and so for me it's like we have to read the captions most of the time, because everybody except for Blackthorne is speaking Japanese, and so I really have to like pay attention to the inner workings between everybody. But one of my favorite parts, I can't remember if it was this episode or episode 6. Give me a minute to let me think. Never mind, that was episode 6. So moving on. And then there's an earthquake, and it's like really intense. There's a lot of stuff. The visuals are just absolutely like shocking. Like it blew my mind to see the whole like country, like the whole hillside, the whole countryside just shifting. And it's just really intense, really dramatic. I wasn't expecting it. There was a lot of drama in this going on between like Toranaga and some of the vassals underneath him. His son made a lot of mistakes in the last episode, so he was getting a lot of reprimanded in there. There's drama between Blackthorn and Maruki or whatever. There's drama between Maruki and her husband. There's drama between Ishida and the Regent Council because Toranaga stepped down, so they need to replace the 5th member in order to vote to actually impeach Toranaga. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's really, really intense, and I honestly really enjoyed it. So for me, this was definitely like a 5-star episode. Like, for me, it was even better than the previous ones, which I've really enjoyed, but there was just so many funny moments, but like funny in a good way, and where it needed to be funny and amusing, I guess is a better way to describe it. And there was so much cultural differences between the English culture that Blackthorn comes from and the Japan culture that he's living in, that it really made such an interesting episode. I was so fascinated and just immersed and hooked and everything, plus all the drama. It just kind of really ramped it up. So I loved this episode. 5-star episode. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you liked my review of episode 5 of Shogun, then wait for next week where I'll review episode 6. You don't want to miss it. It's amazing. There's a lot of history, so check it out.